Once upon a time, we talked about Russell Wilson perhaps going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Today, we're talking about him getting benched for the rest of the season. Few careers have a drop-off as sharp as this. When it comes to the benching, we do have to realize a lot of it has to do with the money involved. That massive contract that Russ signed with the Denver Broncos when they traded for him is such an albatross around their necks. It is arguably the worst contract ever signed in the NFL. So because the Broncos have to make a decision in this offseason whether they want to pay him in 2024 and then 2025, the last thing they want is in the last two regular season games this year for him to be injured. That would make things complicated. And so they're going to stick his butt to the bench knowing that he can't get hurt there, and that gives them some leniency to go into the offseason knowing, okay, at least we don't have damaged goods to make a decision on. But the other thing is, Russ is not good anymore. I mean, sure, he's better than your average backup, but he's not supposed to be your average backup. This is a guy that once upon a time was a perennial Pro Bowler and led his team to 2 Super Bowls. Sean Payton has got what he could out of Russell Wilson this year by mostly telling him, don't take crazy shots downfield, take what the defense gives you, let's dink, let's dunk, let's get out of here without a ton of interceptions. And Russ, for the most part, has been able to do that. The Broncos have inched their way into the playoff picture despite that awful 1-5 start. But Russell Wilson doesn't look doesn't play anything like he used to. And when I say the words Hall of Fame and Russell Wilson in the same sentence now, it seems so crazy. I'm sure immediately many of you said, oh God, DA, stop it. But no, seriously, hear me out. Starting his rookie season in 2012, Russell Wilson in his first 10 years in the NFL made the Pro Bowl 9 times. At the apex of his career, he threw for 4,000 yards 4 times in 6 seasons, and one of the other years, it was 39-83. He was 17 yards shy of 4K. During that prime of his career, he threw for 30 or more touchdowns 5 times, once hitting 40 scores. As far as Offensive Player of the Year honors, he's finished in the top 5 3 different times. If winning is your thing in terms of value of quarterbacks, Russ did that as well. In his decade in Seattle, 104 wins, 53 losses. The man is 50 games over 500. 50 as a Seahawk. And let's also not forget, Russ played in the playoffs almost every year. In those 10 seasons in Seattle, they made the postseason 8 different times, famously winning the Super Bowl in 2013 and infamously losing the Super Bowl in 2014. And who can forget the cries of "Let Russ cook"? There was this overwhelming narrative that there was so much more that Wilson should be able to do if only they would take the shackles off of him. In 2020, the COVID season, this was Russ's 9th year in Seattle. They went 12-4. They won the NFC West yet again. He threw for 4,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, only 13 interceptions. He made yet another Pro Bowl. And it was at this moment when the Seahawks had to make a decision because Russ wanted more control over the offense. He wanted to scramble around and launch bombs downfield more. He wanted to enhance his stats and highlights. And the Seahawks just weren't quite feeling that. And so there became a tension within the organization between the coach and the quarterback. And ultimately, the quarterback said, I want out. And the Seahawks said, we'll grant you your freedom. After the 2021 season, Russ made his last Pro Bowl and went to Denver, where the Broncos felt like they were just a quarterback away. Enter Nathaniel Hackett, an offense that struggled to even get plays in, a quarterback that couldn't really make any of the dynamic plays he used to, and overall a team that couldn't score any points. A crash and burn. 4-11 for Russ as a starter last season. Now enter Sean Payton, results slightly better, but you can see that Russ is not who he once was. And now Payton says, with a chance to make the playoffs in the final 2 weeks of the season, we'd rather have Jarrett Stidham in there. Ouch. Once upon a time, Russ and the Hall of Fame wasn't so crazy. If you check out Pro Football Reference's Hall of Fame monitor, they put together a formula involving career values, Pro Bowls, All Pros, championships, and various other quarterback statistics. The average number for a Hall of Famer is 100. Convenient. For the record, Tom Brady's 263, Peyton Manning is 257. Terry Bradshaw, 95. He's in. Bart Starr, 97. He's in. Kurt Warner, 88. He's in. Russell Wilson is right there. He's an 85. Sandwiched between Eli Manning's 85 and Patrick Mahomes' 86. Eli's likely to get in. Mahomes is a slam dunk. Look, there's quarterbacks in Canton already with far lower Hall of Fame scores than what Russ has right now, according to this formula. Len Dawson, 69. Joe Namath, 74. Warren Moon, 71. Bob Greasy, 73. Ken Stabler just got in, 82. So where does that leave us with Russell Wilson? The calamity of throwing on the goal line sticks with the Seahawks forever. Because had they just handed the football off to Marshawn Lynch, they would have had 2 back-to-back Super Bowl championships, and Russ probably is a slam dunk no matter what is happening now late in his career. Is 1 championship and 1 near miss enough? My guess is the stench of this Broncos era and wherever he goes from here eventually evaporates, and somewhere down the line, Russell Wilson does make the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But he's also a guy caught between 2 eras. He's after the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees era, and he's before this Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and the modern quarterbacks as well. Will he get lost to time? Look, the fact is something has been lost from Russ's game. That magic that he used to have, he just simply doesn't anymore. You would never want Russ to cook any more than he has to cook these days. Whoa, 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 we won't be doing any cooking here. It's more like a simmer or a boil. But this is a crazy career cliff he has fallen off of. Within 2 years, going from one of the best quarterbacks in football to being benched and having one of the worst contracts in the sport. Russ isn't agile as he once was. He isn't as mobile as he once was. His arm strength doesn't appear to be what it once was. And at 35 years old, you have to reinvent yourself. And maybe Russ just is unable to do so. Russ might have also been broken by the way that things went down in year number 1 in Denver. Russ is a curious personality. Doesn't quite seem authentic or genuine in many of the things that he does or says. Seems like he's constantly trying to put up a front or some type of business face. I mean, who can forget Broncos country, let's ride. His corny TikToks, his bizarre interview sound bites. And that's the thing. I mean, how many let's ride jokes have there been since he got to Denver? I know I, for one, have used a lot of them. It's some of my best source material. This is it for him in Denver, one of the most lopsided trades in sports history. Look at what the Broncos gave up and look at what they got in return. 2 seasons, tons of money paid out, a lot of boos, a lot of cringing, and now a benching. The rise and now the fall of Russell Wilson. Let's ride the pine. See, you had to get one last one in there. Hey, for more videos like this, subscribe right here. I'm Damon Amendolara. DA, we'll see you next time.